Honey, can you come to the kitchen? Honey.
Don't go in there. I heard it too.
Hey, I'm Sarah and we're talking two-sentence horror. Two-sentence horror has been pretty popular recently. It is convenient to read, and it also packs a punch in a format that doesn't really allow for much setup. What's widely regarded as the first two-sentence horror story was published in 1948 by Frederick Brown, who is known for his short stories. The last man on Earth sat alone in a room. There was a knock at the door. Not quite as scary as they would later become, but it is foundational. There was a CW anthology series based on two-sentence horror. I watched it years ago, and I don't really remember it, but I do remember liking it. Where two-sentence horror thrives, however, would be in the r/two-sentence horror subreddit. People can post anything on there, straight from their brains. This, of course, led to fantastic, frightening stories that would typically stick with people past reading. But it also led to some of the worst, borderline satirical content, and we are looking at both. I'm starting with the good ones first, some of my all-time favorites, and just some ones that I really liked while looking for them. I'm rating these guys based on spook factor, 1 to 6, because 6 is a scary number. Last night I heard my mom call me from the kitchen. As I approached the stairs, my mom put her hand over my mouth, pulled me into her bedroom, and whispered, "I heard it too." Recognize that one from the intro? One of the most popular and one of the best. Doppelgangers have been popular recently. I've seen a lot of it on TikTok, but just God. That one gets a 5 out of 6 from me. Sleep did not come easily for me that night, as the strange new cabin presented me with strange paintings of the damned. Sleep has never come easily for me since, as I woke up the next morning to find no paintings, only windows. I've definitely heard different versions of that one, but that's the one I could find. I mean, I feel like I would know it's a window, but that's the ego in me. Anyway, 3 out of 6. I woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of my Amazon Alexa. Okay, the security alarms have been disabled. It's too real, it's freaky. Hope I set your Alexa off with that one, if anyone still has one. 5 out of 6. Laying in bed, I saw my wife on the baby monitor, holding our newborn son in the nursery downstairs. Then my wife walked out of the master bathroom and asked, "What's wrong?" when she saw the horrified look on my face. Just creepy, of course. Although I think anything on a baby monitor is creepy, why do they look like that? 4 out of 6. I begin tucking him into bed and he tells me, "Daddy, check for monsters under the bed." I look underneath for his amusement and see him, another him, under the bed, staring back at me, quivering and whispering, "Daddy, there's somebody on my bed." Ew. It actually took me embarrassingly long to understand what was happening in that one. 4 out of 6. After struggling desperately to move any part of his paralytic body just to alert the doctors that he was conscious before they made the first incision, he was relieved to see that one of the nurses had noticed his pupils dilating from the bright light. She leaned in close and in a whisper that tickled his ear said, "You think we don't know you're awake?" Yeah, it's a long first sentence, but it's still really good. The idea of people being aware after anesthesia is a very real concern and terrifying. 4 out of 6. Put back the mirrors. We miss watching you. That's the whole thing, and I'm still quite disturbed by it. Honestly, 6 out of 6. Don't be scared of the monsters. Just look for them. Look to your left, to your right, under your bed, behind your dresser, in your closet, but never look up. She hates being seen. Interactive ones are the ones that get me the most, like in creepypastas. She is getting a 5 out of 6. My daughter won't stop crying and screaming in the middle of the night. I visit her grave and ask her to stop, but it doesn't help. This one has a really good twist. I'm a big fan of the whole "they were dead the whole time" thing, so 5 out of 6. Now, bad two-sentence horror has kind of become its own genre, so much so that it has its own subreddit, r/bad two-sentence horror. It started as a genuine attempt at scare your pants off type of horror that just fell way short of the mark, but it eventually developed into a satirical play on actual horror. Here are some of my favorites, which we'll be judging based off goof factor, 1 to 7, because I said so. In the middle of the night, your dog stands on his hind legs and says, "Nobody will ever believe you." Then you see him grab a kitchen knife and run into your parents' room. One of my favorite bits is doing something stupid and saying "no one will ever believe you" to the closest person. 10 out of 10 bit. But here, 6 out of 7. The stupid fucking image of the dog makes me giggle. I didn't know where the muffled screams were coming from until I lifted the bun off my burger. That's when I saw that the patty was actually meat men. Big fan of the meat men. Clearly satire, but still big fan. 5 out of 7 goof. Why is it so dead? Why is it so dead? For weeks, a strange smell in my house had been getting stronger and stronger. It wasn't until I found a secret trap door that I realized it was the smell of death. Most certainly was a sincere attempt, but just fell way short. Girl, no, we get it's death, but like, what's the really scary part? We need details. 3 out of 7 goof. A bad rainstorm came up in the deep woods. I was killed by a bolt of lightning while I slept. 6 out of 7 goof. No explanation, next story. We chowed down on the delicious mushroom stew made from fungus I had foraged outside. But then I remembered I'm a character in The Last of Us, and the mushrooms were zombie cordyceps, and we eventually transformed into clickers. I love the ones that explain themselves so deeply. Writing a 2-sentence is a very specific format that's not really easily adapted. I am obsessed with this one, and I can't even tell for real if it's an honest attempt, but I do not care. 6 out of 7 goof. I was walking through the park with my daughter. She has a brain tumor. Not funny. Kind of funny. A little funny. 7 out of 7 goof. One day I was walking down the street and someone started chasing me. He said, "I want to kidnap you." Dude, I'm actually so spooked I don't know if I can do anymore. 5 out of 7 goof. I just bought new boots. To stomp my dog. I just bought new boots. To stomp my dog. Shut up. 7 out of 7. Barry loved to play in the snow, but so did the meatworm. The meatworm is a famous 2-sentence horror. I would probably find it funnier if I hadn't heard it a million times. 4 out of 7 goof. I know this one was short, but I've got a big one coming up next week, I promise. My mom, who's in the intro, is actually on YouTube. If you happen to enjoy eBay listing content, I linked her channel below in the description. Unrelated, stop believing everything you see on the internet. Unless it's from me.